and welcome to the Boys in the Bus podcast. This is your bus home, and for the first time in a little while, we've all got happy faces, and Celtic have got the 3 points, and we can have a relaxing and peaceful and enjoyable Christmas, knowing that we are still hanging around near the top of the league and in with a shout. I'm your host, Terry. I'm joined by Liam. I'm joined by Conor. I can promise every single one of you I will allow both of these gentlemen to speak this afternoon. I'm under strict warning from my old man. Let that nice man from Canada speak on that other fella from Scotland. And don't be cursing and don't be saying anything bad about that poor manager. He needs support. So that's my remit for today. That's what I've been told to do. I'm going to go straight into the chat. Leanne Campbell says, last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day, you give it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to Wilfred and Nancy. He's here. He's still here. He might not always be here. At one point, I didn't think he'd still be here, but he is, and he'll be here for Christmas. We're going to get into all of that stuff. How are you guys? Start with you, Liam. How are you? How are you feeling after that?
Brand new. It felt good. We even had a couple of Aberdeen supporter watching with us today. Good guy. We met him at the Scotland game, and it was great. I said it on Friday. Says their goalkeeper Mitov. He's one of these guys that can have a worldie. My God, he kept that scored, and that could have been a cricket score.
Right. So I've got this image, right? So without getting into the intricate details, you guys are in the bar. How many of you are there on a normal match day watching?
Okay, Scott. We had, I think it was 6 or 7 years of the day. That's it. Usually at Christmas time, people have got stuff to do, and it's like a pain in the arse driving downtown for a lot of the guys that drive down. I'm easy. I just walk to the game. So most of the guys that come to the games today are guys that just live downtown within the area and that.
But that's still nice, meeting up with 4, 5, 6 people on a regular basis and watching the games, especially when most of the time for you it's during the night, whenever everybody else in their bed. Conor, how are you feeling, mate?
Sorry, I thought I was on mute there. I'm all right. I don't think I'm riding the same high as used to, gentlemen, tonight. To be honest, I don't know, the result is a massive double-edged sword for me personally. I think it's good to go to win. I mean, I'll take, going a few points clear of the Rangers any day of the week, but then it's also, this guy's got a win, so he's going to be here another week, which I'm not too happy about. So, yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword for me. I'm happy on one hand, and I'm, really not happy on the other, to be totally honest. And look, I don't imagine that's probably going to be a popular viewpoint tonight, but it's still the way that I, feel about the situation that's here. I think there is something still to be salvaged, but, with this guy getting that win today, I think it just massively papers over the cracks for me. Like, there's still so much in there that isn't working, even with his formation. Like, I know we got loads and loads of chances today, but we didn't finish them. And Aberdeen, with their first real attempt to the game, got that goal and made it look so easy because of the way that he plays, because of how high the wing backs are. There's only ever 2 centre backs at the back, defending at any one time, and all needs just one good ball in there in the back for it to cause utter carnage like we've seen. And the fact is like, yeah, we could have got loads of goals, and the woodwork was probably Aberdeen's best defender of the day, but we didn't score them, and it took well into nearly the end of the game for us to get that header for Kieran Tierney, then obviously James Forrest then sealed the deal in stoppage time. But this is against a really poor 10-man Aberdeen side. This is not us going toe to toe with the likes of like Aroma or league leaders Hearts does getting over the line. I'm going to be totally honest. This has proved nothing for me in terms of bigging up Nancy. If I'm being totally honest,
hold on. You're getting a wee bit confused between us being happy that our teams won a match and we're bigging up Wilfred Nancy. Let me just explore this a wee bit with you, and I'll bring up the dude there just in case we need it. Neither myself or Liam is suddenly going all in there saying we're on the Nancy bus. All we're doing is happy that we've got a Celtic victory in the days leading up to Christmas, But let me just prize out a wee bit more from you in terms of your mindset for today, because are you almost saying you would have preferred to see your team get beat, because that would undoubtedly have meant if we lost today, or I would even go as far as to say if that game had finished 1 each, I reckon Nancy would have been gone. I think he would have been gone. But as much as I agree with you, I think the win today papers over a lot of cracks. I really do. And he doesn't just go from me saying on the midweek that it was time to go. He doesn't just go from there to suddenly I think he's the man to get the job done. I'm just celebrating a victory, a small crumb of comfort in a fortnight of absolute desperation, to be honest. But I want to explore your mindset. Would you have preferred not to get a win today just to get rid of this manager?
I'll be totally honest, this is probably going to be a very unpopular point of view. And look, I never ever thought I would come on to a post-match show and thought these words would ever come out of my mouth. But if it meant that we got rid of him, I would 100% would have rather seen Celtic lose. If it meant we could get somebody in to try and steady us in some sort of way, to be honest, mate, like I just don't see how with him in situ, even if he was to get given some sort of war chest in January, like, do you honestly believe that Celtic board would back him? And also between now and between January, how much more damage could he possibly do with what he's got there? You know, that's the worry for me. As in, like, I was thinking last week the league's already done. I still think the league's probably already, like, done for me. So whether we lost or won today, I don't really think it makes much of a difference, to be honest. I have no confidence in the management, the board, the system. I have no confidence in the players either, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of them, you know, said it far to deceive, and, you know, Martin O'Neill managed to get a tune out of them as well, but, like, I just think some of them were just so poor. And look, it's no his fault. He's got the tools he's given, but a poor workman blames his tools, you know what I mean, when he's got tools there to do the job. But for me, if at the end of the day, if it means he got the sack after the day, I would have rather seen him lose, to be honest.
Let's go through a few bits and bobs just before we get into the nitty-gritty. Give us a like, give us a share. We will not hit the heights that we did of the last two games when results didn't go our way. I was saying to the guys before we come on the post-match show, we've had nearly 20,000 people watch the last two shows. Me, slurring mess last weekend after the St Mirren game, and not much better during the week. All over the place. People like to come on whenever Celtic fans are going through a bad time. Yeah, we won't hit those heights today, but that's a good thing. I'd be happy enough if we didn't hit those heights the rest of the season, and I'm just coming on talking to you guys and about 100, 150 people, and we end up with 1,000 views. That means Celtic are doing well. Conor, you've mentioned there around the manager, and we'll get into the bits of the game, but in today's performance, I struggle a little bit around what the manager could possibly have done different to make today an easier game. I've made lots of notes about really, really good football, really, really good play. Don't know if you're into XG or not, but our XG was almost 5, which means on a normal day, given the chances we had, just your average bog standard game, we would have scored 5 goals. With 31 attempts on goal, we scored 3. We've seen player after player after player pass up opportunities where the ball should have been in the net. Now, I've really swayed. I hung on more than most people in the Nancy corner to give him a chance. Then I switched corners after the last game because I'd had enough. But when I watched that game today, I genuinely do not see what that man could have done any differently to make that a more comfortable afternoon. How is it on the manager if Johnny Kenny couldn't kick his own arse? How is it on the manager if we hit the woodwork at least 4 times and don't score? How could he have influenced any of that?
I don't think it's like I'm going to defend Wilfred Nancy here, so it's the first time for everything. But I don't think that it's his fault that we've got like some guy who should still be playing his trade in League of Ireland. Like Johnny Kenny's a League of Ireland level player. He's not a Celtic player. He's not even a Scottish Premiership player. You know what I mean? In my opinion, he's so poor as a player, as a finisher. He's got a good bit of pace and that. I'll give him that, but that's generally about it. Like in front of goal, like would be better just sticking a big fucking bollard there and putting a green and white shirt on it, and that would do the same job as Johnny Kenny does, because he doesn't really contribute. I know he had that kind of tiny wee spell under Martin O'Neill, but that's few and far between. I mean, Anthony Ralston had a purple patch under Ange Postecoglou in his first season, and look how that turned out. He's still an absolute, haddy. But it's no Nancy's fault that he's got the tools, he's been given, right? It's not his fault that he's got these players who like aren't good enough, right? But it's his job to use the tools he's got in the most effective way possible, which I don't necessarily think he's done since he came in, like we've seen. Because before today, let's not forget that he did lose every single one of his games. I don't think we can forget the last few weeks haven't happened. Just because he got a win today. But the fact of the matter is like he could technically get us playing a bit better if he went back to the old system and he had a wee bit more solidity in the back. Like, look at Aberdeen with their first real chance today, scored a goal, and it was squeaky bum time at the end of the day. If we were all shitting it that we weren't going to win today. Like, I don't know it. Like, I know you, Terry, you think that we could literally go a goal down in the last second of the game, and you think we could somehow go and score 2 and win it. Obviously, realistically, not going to happen. But with squeaky bum time at the end, and if you've got 4 at the back there, you've got two full backs there who are there to cover you, and there's the extra defenders there to try and shore it up a wee bit. I don't think that happens. You've got a bit more solidity in the midfield. Doesn't really, it could be a bit more comfortable. And look, with the strikers and that's where I think I feel for him the most with the striking area. Like, I think the wing backs today were actually okay. I thought that McKeown actually had a pretty decent game, if I'm being honest. How much credence that gives to the rumours that he's not happy and stuff, like, obviously I don't know, but I mean, I didn't look too happy coming off right enough, but still, I thought he had a good performance. But like, our strikers are just so like powder puff, like would be as well not having playing one, because they don't do anything really. Like, it's so poor up the top. His system, I do think, suits a player who can drop in deep, collect the ball, hold up, recycle it, and then transition up to the top third of the pitch. And I think we've had that with Kelechi Iheanacho. But unfortunately, for Wilfred Nancy, he's injured again. And because you could kind of see, I know we went 1-0 down against St Mirren in the cup final when it was shite, but you could kind of see how he was having, an impact on the game. He was kind of running the game for Celtic in that cup final until unfortunately got took off. And you've seen Johnny Kenny come on, so much less effective than what Ian actually was. And I think that's the thing I was saying to my friend today who came over. Like my dad, I don't know why, is blaming the entire thing over the last 2 weeks on Wilfred Nancy. And I'm not. I'm blaming some of it on him. I've told you that. But a lot of it goes right to the very start. And the fact that the board set the first domino rolling in place to get us to this point, with the lack of investment, the lack of transfers, not backing the manager who was here in the first place. And that's obviously led us to this point now. So if we had better players in situ, you never know. Wilfred Nancy could have come in hypothetically and look like a genius. But because we don't have that, he looks like an absolute fucking fraud. And look, I don't know if the board are going to invest money in him. They might. I haven't got a clue. But the fact of the matter is like, would you bet your money on them seeing a guy who is already very unpopular with the support, and they're thinking, oh, we've maybe fucked up here, giving him a bunch of money to spend in the January window to try and get us over the line? I'll be honest, I don't really see it happening, because you don't do it with managers who are beloved by the support, who are 10 points clear and who are in the latter stages of Europe. They don't even do it. So why would the board all of a sudden, without the pressure and that against them, turn around and give it to this guy?
Conor, we'll circle back round on that because I've got as a talking point after we get through the points of the game. There's a comment in there from somebody talking about a £500 grand prize in the draw. There's definitely no draw. It'll take this podcast about 10 years to earn 500 quid. But if anyone does want to help us try and earn a few shillings, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. All that jazz is free. If you want to be notified whenever we go live, you know when we go live. We've the sort of staple shows on a Friday night and then post-match and other little bits and pieces popping up every now and again. If you want the notification, hit that bell, and you can always get that green and white Celtic scarf against your name as a little gesture of goodwill towards the podcast. It helps keep the diesel in the bus, but there is definitely not a £500 grand prize draw for putting a Santa comment in the live chat. So I'll probably
you're pocketing that, Terry, aren't you?
I've grabbed him there. That's a bit of a spam. Okay, Liam, I'll come to you because Conor's hogged the mic there for quite a while.
Like that.
Just doing your job. I mean, I'm just doing your job this week, Terry.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying so hard to behave myself. The team lineup came out, Liam, and in the last couple of weeks, and through a wee bit of this season before Wilfred Nancy came in, the team lineup now in the chats that I'm in seems to get met with absolute derision and anger every week. No matter what lineup comes out, people aren't happy with it. And I think that's, go back to a point that Conor made about the hand the manager's been dealt. I think that's just symptomatic of where you're at. You see the team and your heart sinks as soon as you see it, because I don't think there's any way you could come up with a lineup that everybody would be happy with. But I think given the position this manager's in, and we'll talk a bit about whether he's on a 2-game opportunity to save his managerial career at Celtic or not. I think the question that comes up every week as you're starting to wait for that lineup coming out an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff is he going to try and do the best thing for Glasgow Celtic to get a result, or is he going to stick to his ideal and his principle, and possibly, to use a Dermot Desmond phrase, self-serve? And when that lineup comes out today, I'm a bit disappointed because I'm seeing some of the names I probably didn't want to see. I'm thinking you've got a manager here on death row who's, well, he's taken Martin's Ferrari, he's driven it off the road, he's been through the ditch, he's coming through the dirt, and he's trying to get it back on the road again. But for me, he then still sticks with a back three of Ralston, Trusty, and Tierney, which just does not fill me with any kind of sense of security or excitement or any sort of sense that he's learned his lessons of the previous 2 weeks. You've then got Yang in again, and again the rumours of Yang going down south in a couple of weeks' time are rife. You've got McKeown, who's rumours again. He's been brought into a room and told that he's now a wing back. And to be honest, I don't actually know where McKeown played today, because he wasn't flat out on the left-hand side. I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was Maeda. I don't really know where anybody's playing anymore. You've then got Kenny, which, again, is that great? Engels is there. The obvious omission is Hitati, which I'm assuming there has to be an injury there because he's not even on the bench. And I know you can't see the bench because of that banner. I'll remove the banner very briefly. But that bench, albeit it's small there, does not enthuse at all. And there's a lot of defenders on there. There's Simpson Pusey, there's Scales, Inamura has suddenly appeared from absolutely nowhere. Dane Murray's on there. Donovan's on there. 5 defenders on your bench. That's a poor bench. But that is where we're at. And I just think at this moment, no matter what team comes out, you're going to be questioning things. What did you think when you seen that one popping up?
I'm just thinking that's all you've got. It's like it's like an Iron Chef situation. Here's your ingredients. Try and make something out of it. And the ingredients we have are very poor. I think, okay, so what has he responded to? He knows Scales can play in a back three. Still put him on later. And I think part of the goal we gave up with Scales as well. He still started Kenny. Kenny's been poor. I mean, how you can start Kenny after, if he starts Kenny again, it just shows you, on Boxing Day, if Kenny starts again, it just shows you how little of a squad we have.
Who do you start instead of him then? Where would you go?
Honestly, I'd be looking at that youth team right now. I'd be looking
Peter
at
Lowell
at this point.
When I heard Peter Lowell had been removed from his job as chairman, and that was him finished with Celtic, I was thinking, he could end up at centre forward.
Well, it might very well be, but honestly, Kenny was just so poor. But you saw
where do you go? Where do you go?
The players sitting on the bench, on the bench in the crowd, and he's lost a lot of good players. Remember, Brendan Rodgers had all those players that were sitting up the stands. I think Brendan Rodgers had most of them when we took on Al Karate or El Kabong or whatever they were called, and did not get a result. So Nancy's lost 4 games with these guys. I enjoyed today's game. I thought we turned it around a bit. And again, I don't fancy Nancy at all, but I'm really, really pissed off at Teasdale. The more I find out about Teasdale and his involvement in the club, or in fact he's on holiday and that now, the more you can see that his effect on Celtic has been really, really damaging. And that's the board for appointing this clown, and also for him, Nancy's on him. But I liked the way I liked the way we played football the day. I like to see it opening that, and I enjoyed that game. And I've seen O'Neill, when O'Neill played, we struggled to win some games as well with last-minute heroics, penalties, and it was just getting the points. So, I'm happy, Conor, I'm happy with today's result. But no, I'm not happy with the situation. And looking at the squad that we've got, it's threadbare thin. So one of the best things Celtic could do right now is having an early announcement that we've got some sort of quality striker in the wings waiting. Because if we had a quality striker today, and I think if Iheanacho had played today, we would have been fine. If we had maybe even Maeda in the front, I don't think he would have missed all the chances. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see a quality striker that can come in and do the business. And I think that could turn this team around.
Do we give Shin a chance up top?
It's what?
Do we give Shin a chance up top? Yamada?
I don't know. He just looks like a Japanese version of Johnny Kenny. There's nothing about him that I've seen so far. I had high hopes. The first couple of games I've seen, he was good at moving in behind players and finding open spaces. I don't think we have that sort of need anymore now. It's more about getting your chances in front of the goal and finishing them. And he doesn't look any better than Kenny. So I think it's all about getting Iheanacho back fit. We've got him for the season, and then let's see who can we buy. I mean, I'd bite your hand off for Shanklin right now.
Liam, there's one thing about you that sometimes annoys me, right? And I've got my wee list of talking points here. Conor's already blasted one of them out because we're going to have a wee section on Wilfred Nancy's future, and then we were going to have a section on, and again, what I would be doing right now if I was Wilfred Nancy, Michael Nicholson, Paul Tisdale, any of these people in and around Celtic Football Club. And I'm going to move to it now because you've mentioned it. We will get back to the game. We will cover the points. If I had any influence at Celtic Football Club, and again, I'm just a dickhead who watches games and talks shite with a few beers in me. If I was involved at Celtic Football Club, what I would have organised right now is the moment we sold Kyogo Furuhashi for £10 million in January, and didn't replace him. From that moment, we've been looking for a centre forward. We then managed to get through the whole summer window without bringing in a proper centre forward. And we also, inexplicably, sold the backup centre forward to Kyogo Furuhashi, Arameda, for something close to 7 million. So that's 17 million of centre forward that we sold. We bungled our way through the rest of the window and didn't bring in any centre forward. What have we done since then to address that situation? Because no matter if Brendan Rodgers is in charge, Martin O'Neill's in charge, Wilfred Nancy's in charge, or God forbid, results dictate Wilfred Nancy is replaced by someone else, we still need a proper centre forward. Now, I know the window's closed, but that does not mean that you cannot work on a deal and have that deal in place, ready to start on New Year's Day. And if I was Michael Nicholson, I would have that deal already signed, sealed, and delivered. I don't care how hard it is to get a club to part with their striker in January. If that means you pay 15 for a £10 million player, or you pay 12 for an £8 million player, or you pay 8 for a £5 million player, I don't care. I would have an email lodged with the SFA to say, we have got a striker, signed, sealed, ready to go. You need somebody, a member of staff in on New Year's Day, because we are going to register this guy at 1 second past midnight on the 1st of January, and he will be ready to go for the rest of this season. We have had 12 months to sort this out. We haven't fucking done a thing. If we don't have a centre forward of much better quality than what we've currently got, ready to go at 1 second past 12, then all of these dickheads have failed yet again.
Aye, well, the recruitment guy's on holiday right now. I hope he's at the African Nations Cup, maybe, but who knows? He's probably in Dubai. So, I mean, I think that's the best thing Celtic could do right now, is to announce a striker so that we know there's one coming into the window. If you look at some of the guys we passed up in the summer, rumours of, Ian Ferguson, boy at Roma, that was on loan for, Brighton was putting him on loan. He would have been a perfect addition to our team. And then the other one that we were talking about was Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy just got Italian Player of the Month. He's scoring goals for fun there in the Italian league. I mean, that would have been a good signing as well. I mean, we need to go out there and pay, I don't know, if we have to pay 15, 20 million for a striker, go and get it. Somebody that's going to be here for a while, and somebody that can actually put the ball in the net. This team's really, really struggling right now to, score goals. We're creating chances, but we're not scoring goals. And we have created chances. If you look at it, the chances that we should have buried, we shouldn't have lost 4 games. Maybe 2 of them, but no 4. Roma for a start, maybe Hearts, but we shouldn't have lost the other 2. And if we had a striker, that wouldn't have been the problem, because we did make the chances. And today, I saw us creating chances. So I'm going to try and be optimistic about that. I don't know if Nancy's the right guy. I don't think he is. But you got to support him right now, and we got to see if we can get him some quality players coming in. And you're right. Best thing you do is just do that now.
I agree with you in terms of, I don't know if he's the right guy. My gut feel is he isn't. There was some comments there about how his style is completely different and it's going to take time. I get all of that. But we have a league to win. But the other thing also to remember is he doesn't have to be absolutely brilliant to win this league. For me, he just has to be a competent manager with a coherent plan and a clear way of explaining what he wants to a group of players who should be good enough to be competitive at the very, very top end of this league. So much in the way of Ronnie Deila, he doesn't have to be brilliant to get the job done. He just has to be competent and decent. And if we want to win this league, we're going to have to find we're going to have to find a centre forward in this window, and preferably at the start of the window. I don't think there's any time to waste whatsoever. There's no excuse for not having somebody lined up. You talked there about Ferguson. That was always going to be a long shot, and he probably was always going to go to Serie A before SPL. And the same again with Vardy. If we pushed the boat out, we might have got either of them done. There's still a bit of a rumour going about that Roma don't fancy Ferguson based on what we've seen of him against us. If we could get him in the 1st of January, what a signing that would be on a loan. Going back to Conor's point, this board don't need any excuse not to spend money, but they've got a fucking really good excuse sitting there right now. How do you give this guy money after the start he's had? I don't know. I'm thinking you might even just see loan signings coming in because they probably aren't convinced that he's the guy to back with a lot of backing. If you could get Ferguson, what you really want is you're wanting someone in the caliber of loan signings that we've made previously from the EPL of a Keane or a Bellamy. Now I know that none of those two players actually ended up having a successful season in terms of the club achievements, but in terms of absolute quality in the forward positions, that's the kind of signing we probably need. We need to be looking down south and getting somebody who's just out of favour with their own team for whatever reason, but they come up and they're a completely different level. Conor, I'll come back round to you and let's try and look at a few bits of the match, because I was happy with what we've seen. I know it went to the wire. I know it went to the last 3 minutes, but it was a very, very, very dominant performance, albeit you always felt you were just one long ball away from the whole thing going tits up. But we started positively. And one thing I noticed when the lineups went up was that Aberdeen played the exact same shape as us, the 3-4-3. The one thing that we've been talking about, the biggest change that Wilfred Nancy's made, Aberdeen were set up the exact same. We started off well. Chance, Negron over the bar. Kenny misses, for me, one that you've got to score after Maida crosses. Engels then misses a chance. Within the first 7 minutes, you've had 3 decent chances. Bit of a shout for a penalty on 25 from Callum McGregor. For me, I didn't see any angle that led me to believe that was a penalty. You then had another miss for Maida. Negron misses from wide on the left. Chance after chance after chance. There was one moment I want to touch on just in the 32nd minute. It was after there was attention for, I think it was for the Aberdeen goalkeeper, was it? But there was attention given to a player anyway. And you've seen all of the Aberdeen players come over to Jimmy Thielen, have a drink and get a little bit of a pep talk. But Celtic had the corner kick. And when the treatment was over to whoever was down, Celtic were ready to take the corner kick. And there were 8 Aberdeen players over on the sideline with Jimmy Thielen. And David Dickinson made Celtic wait for all of those Aberdeen players to come back on. Now, in my opinion, David Dickinson is the new breed of referee who has always got one eye on Ibrox. We've won the game today, right? But there was so much of what he did was about breaking up Celtic play. There was Aberdeen defenders that were just falling over because they knew they would get the free out. There was times where he broke up Celtic's momentum really, really poorly. He's just not a referee. When I see his name, I smell danger. But I want to focus on that one moment. Why on earth were Celtic not allowed to take that corner when there was only 3 Aberdeen players on the pitch? That wasn't a water break. That wasn't an agreed time where those players were allowed to go off the pitch. If they went off, that was on them. I just thought that was startling.
I'll tell you why it's not allowed, because it gives Celtic an advantage. Referees do not allow any decisions to go in Celtic's favour to give them an advantage. Same reason why Celtic aren't allowed to take quick free kicks in the middle of the park. You've seen the goal against the Jota goal against Rangers, where he does a chip a couple of seasons back. That all comes because CARRMAGEDDON grabs the ball and plays it off quickly because a quick free kick. Celtic were very, very effective at that under Ange Postecoglou. Quick free kicks, taking it sharp, and bombing up when the opposition team aren't ready. Or the opposition team isn't ready. Oh no, Celtic, you can't, capitalise on that. Won't allow you to. It's the same reason why. What's his name? David Dickinson. They should call him David fucking Hasselhoff because he bought into the drama that Aberdeen were playing into all day. The absolute theatrics that they were doing every time they got a touch to go down. Every time they got a touch to go down, they were making foul after foul after foul. Hardly got any bookings. It's the same shit we see week in week out, and I'm fed up of going over it. Like at the end of the day, and obviously Willie Collins came out in his monthly VAR review show fucking bullshit thing and said that Livingston should have been awarded a penalty at Ibrox. That's clear as day, always penalty, right? And he goes, it looks poor on us, it looks poor on the referees, it looks poor on the B team. The VAR team, sorry. So what are you doing about it? Who's getting punished? Who's not getting games? Who's being reprimanded? Nobody. So it's either incompetence or it's cheating. Both of them, right? Whether they're one or the other, and the more likely case is that it's cheating. Because we all know that the fucking refs all support Rangers. Majority of them support Rangers. We all know this. I'm not telling tales at school here. It's not bullshit. It's not, lies. It's not made up. It is true, right? The fact of the matter is they all support a certain club. And if they don't support, that one club, they sure as fuck don't support Celtic. And let's not get it twisted here, right? We as Celtic fans, like they say, we're beloved the world over because we're Celtic and blah, blah, blah. Not in Scotland, we're not. We are hated equally as much as the level as Rangers in the league and domestically by other teams. 100% we are. Because of success, because of all this, right? Because of all the money and shit. So referees are never going to be on our side. And everybody likes to say that Colin was one of the worst of the lot. See, when Colin was an actual referee, my God, he was god-awful. He gave a penalty to Rangers against Celtic without seeing it because he said, and I quote, it sounded like a penalty because of the reaction.
How can you get to a moment in a game from 10 years ago when I've asked you about a moment in a game from...
Because this isn't just about today, Terry. This is about all of it. The stuff about the referees, about all of it. It's one branch on a massive tree that's got its roots firmly planted in Scottish football, mate, and the corruption.
So bring it back to today's game then. David Dickinson, for me, should have allowed Celtic to take a corner with 8 Aberdeen players off the pitch.
He should have allowed them to take it because it's not a scheduled water break. The Celtic, there's 2 players in there. Granted, a couple of players are possibly going to be offside after Conor was took. But, if your auntie had boss, she'd be your uncle. You don't actually know what would happen.
It's not as if the temperatures in Glasgow were really fucking high today.
It's not like, we would have been able to find out because I wasn't allowed to give them the process. Like, they're standing there waiting to take it. There's 2 Aberdeen players still standing in the box, but there's 8 Aberdeen players there having a wee fucking discussion with Jimmy Tilleen, having a wee water break. Sorry, if it's not scheduled, then, just fucking get on with it. It's the same thing. We remember when we scored Kyogo scored the goal against Hibs in the cup final, the Premier Sports Cup final, where he chipped the goalie. Mm-hmm. Hibs, like the club and the fans, were going absolutely crazy because they said they had a player waiting on the sidelines, waiting to come on, waiting to get stripped and ready to come on. If you look back at the footage, the Hibs player hadn't even took his bottoms off yet, hadn't even had his strip on yet. So it's the fact of the matter is like, if you're doing something and you're comparing with something that shouldn't be there, then just fucking get on with it. Like, I hate the fact that our game is so slowed down and that, they can't just get on with it. The refs have got to fucking stand there and argue with the players for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes and that. And that time doesn't get added on at the end of the stoppage time. When the refs are standing there for ages, fucking discussing, trying to stop their authority, trying to speak to the players like they're little schoolboys and that. That annoys me. Do you know what I mean? Like, just let the players get on with it. Of course they're going to be frustrated. Of course they're going to fucking talk back to you. Just suck it up and get on with it.
Jerry Burns asks me, would I take Kyogo back? I'm never a great one of bringing players back, but for that wee man, would I make an exception? Of course I would. If anyone remembers watching myself and Bhoys debating Kyogo time after time after time, season after season, my thoughts were he was a ruthless killer. I genuinely cannot believe that wee man cannot get a game now ahead of Lyndon Dykes. And that is absolutely damning that he cannot get a game in the English Championship ahead of Lyndon Dykes. Yeah, do you know what? Bring him back. I'll make an exception just for him. Liam, Johnny Kenny missed another sitter. Dyson Maida sclaffed one wide. It looked as if it was going to be one of them days. It felt to me as if this manager is just absolutely cursed. And sometimes it happens like this, and I've said it so many times. Football is about momentum and confidence and things going your way, the rub of the green. I just get a feel it's not going to be for this manager. And as I watched chance after chance being passed up, I just felt this guy's cursed. This guy, Wilfred Nancy, and I think it's just going to be a game-by-game basis here with him. I really do. I think we'll go into next Saturday, which is a very interesting day, and we'll touch on that later, the way the fixtures play out. I think it's game by game. I think after the next game that he loses, it'll be that discussion again. Is that time up? Is that it? And even no matter what happens with Wilfred Nancy at Celtic, I think he'll go on to have a good career. I think he will be a good coach for someone in the right situation. I just think the cards have been against him from day one, and everything that's happened in these games has gone against him. And as the chances were getting passed up, I felt it's just not going to happen for this lad. It really isn't. And I juxtapose that, what a word from me, by the way, juxtapose, against Martin O'Neill. And I always felt Martin just had that Midas touch. He was a lucky manager. Like, come back to the Callum McGregor shot against St Mirren. That was the kind of thing that happened for Martin O'Neill. I don't think Martin O'Neill was an absolute tactical genius. I think he was brilliant at motivating players and making them feel 6 foot tall if they were only 5, or 7 foot tall if they were 6. But he was a lucky manager, and he got the best out of whatever he had, whatever hand he had. He got the best outcome that he possibly could. But we made the breakthrough 6 minutes before halftime. Benjamin Negrin. It was a lovely, intricate move down the left-hand side. It involved Yang, who lost the ball on the right-hand side, then found himself on the far left trying to win it back. Again, part of this Nancy thing where players just pop up absolutely everywhere. Yang gets the ball, feeds it to McCown, feeds it to Maeda, cuts it back. The way the game was going, you're expecting Negrin to sky it, but this time he puts it in the net and Celtic are 1 up. I felt a hell of a lot of relief, but I also felt it was a good moment for a player that has been really under pressure from the Celtic supporters to perform. And I thought it was absolute just desserts on a very, very good first half performance. And I'm not going over the top about it. It was a good first half performance where we created loads of chances and we finally got one.
I was so glad that ball went to Negrin instead of Kenny, because Kenny was 2 yards in front of him and Maeda cut it back. And then that's the type of goals Negrin scores. They're not going to be worldies and, stuff you'll put in your highlight reel. It always seems to be a scramble in and around the penalty box or just before it. And he manages to swerve that into the goal and find the open space. And I thought it was really good. You talked about Yang winging that ball back. I thought the 2 players that played good today that really impressed me was Yang and McCown. I thought both of them played good. I'll say something else as well. I thought all the Scottish players actually played well today. You could see it. McCown, McGregor, Tierney. I thought Tierney had an absolutely brilliant game. And then Donovan, when he came on as well, I thought was good. Even Ralston. Ralston had some great shots on goal today as well that I thought he looked okay on, So it was nice to see that sort of goal. Just going back to that that corner kick again, where you're talking about, we need to play a wee bit smarter. How did we not just kick that off? He wasn't standing with his hand up in the air. I mean,
he would have stopped it, Len. He'd have stopped it. I've absolutely no doubt he'd have stopped it.
But then you put him in the spotlight. You put him, you do it, and then you make him rather than just waiting for it. And then he has to come back and tell you why he was holding up the game. And he's not got an answer for that.
He'd have stopped it.
I bet. You got to play smart. Angie's football would have had that. I mean, I loved that part where the ball was always coming in. It wasn't, watching half the game, somebody taking a throw and watching their face, looking. It was getting the football fast and deliberate and that. So I thought we missed a trick there. But I thought that goal, it was perfect. It came at a great time, and it was well. It was nice to see just somebody hit the back of the net for once, because that's only the second time we've been ahead in a game with Nancy. So as a fan, I missed that.
I thought Negron was decent today. He wasn't perfect. There were frustrating moments, but I thought he was decent. He probably wouldn't have played if Atati was there. I thought he was okay. He's a lot of criticism. I'm going to bring up Kev One's comment here. I don't know if he's talking about me or the Rangers fan Dean that I just kicked off there. Like, what? I think he's talking about the Rangers fan. I mean, you've just been spanked by Hearts, right? And then Celtic have got the job done against Aberdeen. Where's your mind if you then decide I'm going to go on to a Celtic podcast and start calling people names? Well, where do you have to be for that to feel as if that's the right decision? And I'm very, very receptive of Rangers fans and Hearts fans coming on as long as they behave themselves. But when you've had a day like they've had today, why the hell? What tells you that you go onto a Celtic podcast and make a dickhead out of yourself? For fuck's sake! Right, okay. Thought that was us. We get through to half time pretty easy. No more action. Not with this Celtic team. Kasper Schmeichel has to make a save down at his right-hand post just before half-time. And then one of the key moments of the game, where you feel it's a very key moment of the game, Mitov, who had a worldie of a game, by the way. Mitov, as you said earlier, Liam, is he the man of the match or is he the villain of the piece? He's probably both. The ball goes back to him where Kenny puts the defender under pressure, and he tries to feed it to the right-sided defender. Dizan pounces, just to keep those people happy in the chat where they like when I say pounces. Dizan pounces on the mistake. You do not give him a sniff. He gets the ball. He's through on goal. I have two thoughts in my mind straight away when I see the tackle. I'm going, stay on your feet, put it in the net and win the game. Or I'm thinking, go down. They go down to 10 and it should be comfortable from there. We obviously know it wasn't comfortable from there. I'd have preferred him to stay on his feet and go and put the ball in the net. Most people in my chats that I'm in don't think he would have put the ball in the net, so it was better he went down and went down to 10 men. Conor, I'll come to you. What was your thoughts? First of all, definite red card. Do you think if he stayed on his feet, he would have scored? Do you think it was the right thing to do to go down?
I mean, it looked a bit soft to me, to be honest. I feel like it's. I think his keepers. I think Mitov has done the young lad a kipper there. Like, it's quite no fair.
You mean soft as in it wasn't a red?
I know. I think it's a red, but I think it's a red in the modern game. I don't think it's like a red.
Oh yeah, but like, we're in the modern day.
20 years ago. I mean, it kind of does. It's almost like a half foul. It's no. It doesn't clean him out. Like, I'll be honest, it's kind of like a wee tussle, and he's got a tiny little handful of his jersey, and then obviously dies and tumbles, and then obviously the red card's produced. But he's like, if I was a young lad, like, I know Dimitar Mitov went on to have a fucking fantastic game for Aberdeen. He kept the scoreline down, but when you were getting, that changing room, you would go fucking mental at him for that, because that's his fault. But I did find the thing is, like, obviously I know that there's rumours that Dyson wants away and that, and he's been kind of pushed and that he doesn't want.
There's rumours he wants to stay now.
I know, I've seen that as well. But obviously, rumours are rumours. Like, we have to wait until whatever happens, and we'll see. But like, when you watch it back, like, it's literally Dyson isn't even in the frame in the picture. It's just the goalkeeper and the young Aberdeen lad, and he passes him the ball, and the ball's literally about to go to his feet. And you just see Dyson, just like the fucking roadrunner, just zip in and nip it off him. And it's like, that's what he gives you. Like, as poor as he's been in front of goal, I know he scored a couple of goals recently and stuff like that, obviously under Martin and that, but he still gives you that bundle of energy. Like, I always say he's good defensively as he is, attacking wise. He's just this big bundle of energy. He's kind of like if you put a hamster on cocaine, it's kind of what you get. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of goes nuts, and just runs about going mental. So, but it's very effective and it has been very.
There.
Yeah, putting a hamster on cocaine.
Apparently, I was on cocaine last Sunday all day, all through the pod.
You're not the only man that's been on it this week, Terry. I would just say that. But he's, it's if he's 1-on-1 the now, I don't have the confidence that he would have buried it. I'll be totally fair.
He would have. I have the confidence. He just scored that. He would have.
I mean, I guess we'll never know because it never happened. But but I mean, regardless of that, I mean, it was meant to, regardless of whether Dyson went on to go and score or whether, Dyson went in for and got the player sent off. That was meant to make the rest of the game a hell of a lot easier and a lot more cut and dried as what it turned out to be. But obviously, it didn't.
Liam, for you, red card certain day.
I don't know. I'd be raging if that was against us. No, I thought it was. I agree with Conor in this sense. I thought it was soft. I thought they still had another man back, and
no, he was never getting there, mate. Surely not.
Listen, when I first seen it, I shouted right away, red card. Right. When I saw the replay, I felt bad for the boy because the boy really just ran into him, and it looked like a shoulder charge to me. And Dyson went down, but I mean, it could have been a block. I don't know. I'd be raging if it was against us and we got a red for that. But with all the rest of the stuff, I was surprised he gave us it. Put it that way.
I don't think he had any option for me all day long. It doesn't matter, slightest touch or not. Dyson is traveling at 300 fucking mile an hour at a slightest touch, and we've seen it so many times with the wee man. I think if he could have stayed up, he would have done. Although it's one of those ones. If you're the player nowadays, do you take your chances of going 2-0? Do you think that gives you the best chance of winning the game, or do you go down with? For me, it was a definite red. It was always going to be a red. It's a difficult one, especially when you're a Dyson that isn't in completely top form. But for me, all day long, once I seen it, there was no way. Even David Dickinson, there was no way he couldn't give it. For me, no way he couldn't give it. Chat seems to think it was a definite red. Liam, Kev reckons you probably need to get on the drink along with me. Come on, sort it out. So we finally got through to halftime. Absolute roller coaster of emotions, end to end. Celtic, we could have been 3-4, 5-0 up at halftime, and honestly, it wouldn't have been unjust. We then start the second half, and my thoughts at halftime were, I poured myself a Guinness, I got my dad a cup of tea, and I thought, right, in Wilfred Nancy's short period of being in charge, we've had a 20-30 minute spell against Hearts that was good. We've had maybe a 20 minutes against Roma that wasn't too bad. We've had a half hour against St Mirren that was decent. And we had a first half against Dundee United that was okay. But we've not had a full game where we were good. And my thoughts were, is today going to be the day where the second half and the first half marry together and we get a decent performance? That's where I was. And again, you're thinking Aberdeen are down to 10. This is going to be easy. But in recent times, teams going down to 10 against Celtic hasn't just automatically meant that we've gone on and won the game comfortably. And today was the same. And from the start of the second half, I was enthused because we started really strong. Trusty had a header. Mitov makes a fucking great save. Then he makes an absolute worldy save against McGregor, where he was already down expecting a low shot, and he flicks his arm up and gets the ball over the bar. Then Negrin hits the post with a clipped up shot to the back post that ends up hitting the post. Then Engels does the same. He hits a cross and it hits the post. And you're thinking, again, my God, this coach is just cursed. Wilfred Nancy is cursed. And you're thinking all these opportunities, and you can see it. You can see into the future as a Celtic fan. You can see into the future, and you just know at some point in this game, they are going to get a chance from absolutely nothing, and it's going to end up in the net. You can see it a mile off. We make changes. We don't make them till there's 20 minutes to go. We bring on Shin Yamada for Johnny Kenny, Liam Scales for Luke McCowan, James Forrest for Yang. Forrest is immediately involved. He has a shot that's saved. But within 5 minutes of those changes, it's one each. And it's just that scenario that I described there. It's a nothing situation where an Aberdeen player gets the ball in the middle of the pitch. Dyson made us pressing backwards. He looks as if he's won the ball. He hasn't just won it. You're thinking, is it a foul? Is it not a foul? You're hopeful. You're hoping for a VAR. There was nothing in it. There was nothing in it. Dyson was just unlucky. He tracked back and he just got out-muscled, out-balanced, whatever it was. But from absolutely nowhere and from Celtic completely dominating proceedings, 1-0 pass through the centre of our threadbare defence, and it's one each. And your heart sinks. And I'll come to you, Conor. At that moment, you're just thinking, we knew this was going to happen. I felt it was going to happen. Did you?
Oh, 100%. I knew that, like, even being, having the man advantage, even though, we were peppering their goal with shots, I'm like, it just takes one thing, especially with a Celtic team, how frail we are at the back. It just takes one thing for it to totally fuck it. And it's like what I was saying at the start, you see with this is where his system can be criticised, is because the line is so high that you've only got over two centre-backs at the back protecting, the area, because the wing-backs are pushing that high up to try and continue the play and try and keep it going forward. There's no coverage there. So all it takes for the ball to break in the middle, like what we've seen the Aberdeen player then just takes a turn and makes one simple pass through the two defenders to the Aberdeen forward, and then it's 1-1. And I do think, I don't know what the fuck Castle Schmeichel was playing it again. That effort to save it, by the way, was absolutely disgraceful, if I'm being totally honest. The effort to try and save that was disgraceful. And you see it again, he gets up and starts blaming everybody but him. He blames everybody but himself. He's up screaming at the fucking officials about saying, "Oh, that's a foul on my blah 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 blah. That's that's not right." That just focus on doing your job and keeping the ball at the back of the fucking net. You fucking fat dick. Like honestly, like he just does my head in. Like I fucking hate Casper Schmeichel. I don't know why we're persisting with him.
When's the last? You can't.
I do. When's the last time he got a clean sheet? When's the last time he got a clean sheet?
O'Neill.
Salo doesn't concede that goal.
It was against Dundee under O'Neill. The one now.
So going back about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
No, it's only about a fortnight, but I get your point. I take your point. I take your point.
It was about fucking 4 or 5 weeks ago.
No, I take your point. I'm not a massive fan of him. I'm not a massive fan of him, and I'd be very much if I was Sinisalo and I wasn't getting a look in before the end of the season, I'd be off skate, to be honest. And that's not me saying he's the answer. I just know Schmeichel isn't the answer. But there were a few key moments today where he did make saves. But as you say, Conor, every time something kind of goes wrong, he's out looking for somebody to blame. And at the end of the day, he's at the very, very tail end of his career, and he probably is nowhere near his peak. And that's a hard thing for a professional sports person to deal with, because you want to be where you were at in your absolute pump. But he's nowhere near it. He's absolutely nowhere near it. But in terms of that goal today, I just felt that was coming. Liam, did you not just feel, after all the domination, all the chances, all the hitting the woodwork, did you not just feel one straight ball from the centre of the park through our defence was going to end up in our net? Because I said to my dad about 3 times, you can see what's coming here, and for once, he agreed with me. He says, yeah, all day long, they're going to score.
I thought the same as well. I thought, Nancy's cursed. And I thought he was very poor on it. I thought Trusty was poor tracking back on it. But yeah, at that point, it's not like he beat him with a fantastic shot or anything like that, or picked a corner. No, he shot it through him. And somebody as big and as wide as Casper, the boy should be going through him. I mean, that's the one thing about this weight gain he's had that should be in his favour. I said it on Friday, feeling as well. I think he just looks a bit of a dick, Conor. You know, you're just saying they're shouting at the players and all that. He doesn't look like I don't know, not a guy you'd want in your team. You want him on your team when you're winning and when he's in form. But the amount of time that he's shouting in players and stuff, and I can't wait to see Sinisalo on this team. He's better on the ball. I think he's more athletic. And if you look at the goals that Casper's getting beaten, it was the fact that, you watch him, he's stretched out and he's jumping, but he doesn't have that athleticism anymore. He's going with his wrong hand because he's favouring his shoulder. And now we're seeing him getting beat with balls going through him. So, yeah, I thought it was just, oh, shit. It was one of the things where I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe we'll see the end of Nancy today. But, overall, I was enjoying the football. And it was just completely against the run of play. 10 men. And I'm thinking, well, they've done really well. They've done really well to come back into it. And, all right, that's your Christmas present. And I thought, okay, how are we going to respond to that? And,
the guys in the chat want to know, are you on your mobile or are you on your wee tactics board?
A wee tactics board?
Right, listen, I am always the optimist. I said to my dad 5 minutes ago, I said, we're going to get one. He goes, I don't know where it's coming from. I says, I don't care where it comes from. I just know we're getting one. We brought Donovan on for Ralston. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't care if I never see Anthony Ralston again. I've been championing Simpson Pusey, and I accept defeat. If Brendan didn't fancy him, Martin didn't fancy him, and Nancy doesn't fancy him, then he must be shite. But if I tried to think of all the players were available, what would that back three look like? And it could be Simpson Pusey, it could be Cameron Carter-Vickers, it could be their trustier Scales on the left, and it could be Johnson on the right and Tierney on the left. All of a sudden, that looks very fucking strong. How about that? How about that for our lineup going away in Europe to play and try and get a result? But that's not where we're at. We're not there, and we're relying on Austin Trusty as the key in the whole thing, the one centre back that's trying to glue the whole thing together. And we're very much, well, I'm very much still jury out on whether he's actually good enough to be in the Celtic team, never mind be the absolute key component. And I'd love to see this, and I think the manager's been unlucky again. I'd love to see this with Johnston available, Carter-Vickers available, Sriracha available. All of a sudden, you can actually see a really, really strong defensive lineup where you can then start to do the kamikaze forward stuff because you've got enough guys on the pitch who are defensively minded to get it going. But he's not there and it's not happening. And I'm not convinced Trusty is the one to put your absolute faith on, if I'm being honest with you. But anyway, I hoped, I prayed, I felt we would get it, and we got it. And it was a substitute, Colby Donovan on the right-hand side, crosses the ball in. Shinyamata should score, doesn't score, has never scored, but it falls to Kieran Tierney at the back post. And again, a Kieran Tierney that has been open for criticism since he came back. We're expecting big things of him. He was in there where it mattered, and he put the ball in the net. And as much as the emotion is relief, it's the just desserts, because we were utterly dominant today. Liam, talk me through your emotions with 3 minutes to go when KT puts the ball in the net.
Well, the fact that it bypassed Shin, I thought Shin had a great opportunity to put that in, and those were some of the saves that impressed me with Mitov as well. He was doing really well at coming in and cutting out those through balls, because we tried that before. I thought Kobe Donovan, he played a blinder putting that ball across. And then Tierney with a header. I mean, you could just see what it meant to him as well. It's not saying there was something energetic about the Scottish players today that did really, really well and looked like they were really fighting for each other and fighting to get that ball in. And it was just great, just seeing him. I don't know who he was going to in the crowd. He must have found some of the Renegade Green Brigade members in there, because he was definitely motioning towards some people there. And I thought that's one of the best games I've seen Tierney play for us this year. I thought he really looked. And I also thought it was good that Nancy, rather than taking him off at that point to put on Scales, he moved Tierney up. And I thought Tierney looked actually really good in that position. So, as a wing back, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm thinking, again, in the ideal lineup, I'm thinking KT or Sriracha on the left-hand side and potentially Johnston on the other side. I can see a lineup where this looks good if everybody's available, but they're not. Conor, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to challenge you a little bit, because when the cameras panned to Wilfred Nancy when Kieran Tierney scored, I thought he looked very disappointed. I thought he looked cross, to the point where I was thinking, and I've been entertaining this thought for a few days, shall we say. Is this guy an absolute plant where he's just been put in here to totally fuck this whole thing up?
I mean, if you check his Twitter,
he was going nuts. He was going nuts in a negative way.
If you check his Twitter, there was a tweet that got translated for French saying, "Wow, well done, what a result for Rangers," on his personal Twitter account. So it could be a plant. Never know. But I don't know.
But he did look disappointed.
Oh, he did.
He looked disappointed, didn't he?
I think that's a look at frustration and just like a thank fuck, finally go over the line, because obviously all they were doing that entire time was just hammering the Aberdeen goal. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, do you know what I mean? Like, that's probably what it was. I kind of felt the same. Like, I didn't really celebrate when Kieran Tierney scored. It was kind of just like a simultaneous release of tension from every area of my body, but then I immediately tensed back up again, because I thought, oh, they're going to try and get somebody to chop this off for like being a pinky toe offside or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But
I jumped off my seat, mate. I fucking jumped off my seat.
I just thought it's kind of too good to be true, to be honest. Like, it was like, this is not, the story that's been written so far. And I was a bit like, getting a win before Christmas to kind of put us in a decent mood before Christmas Day, and that isn't something that's not, in the cards for us. So, but I mean, I'll take it. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I was angry, that we scored, but I'll take it.
Conor, I just bounced off my seat. I was fucking over the moon, and I am genuinely pleased for Wilfred Nancy. And as much as I still think he's the wrong guy in the wrong movie at the wrong time, set up by the wrong group of people, and fucking just hung out there to dry, I'm absolutely delighted for him, because as a human being, if you just try to put yourself in his shoes, where he's been the underdog, albeit in America, and you can have your thoughts about the American League and all the rest. He's been the underdog throughout his life, and he's created an opportunity. He's then been sounded out about a job, and for him as a European, his ambition will always have been to come into European football and make a name for himself. And he got the opportunity. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, or whether it's Tisdale recommending a dummy or Desmond getting duped or any of that stuff, this guy is a human being. And as much as I joked about him being a plant, he obviously isn't. And on a human level, for what that guy's been through in the last fortnight, when he got that absolutely fatal hug from Mick Nick, meeting him at the next town, giving him that hug, then firing him into the media without any kind of backing or anything. And the whole thing, for that guy, no matter how annoyed and disappointed we are as supporters, I'm pretty sure that's just been a very, very difficult 2 weeks for that guy as an individual. And I have shouted absolutely horrible things at the screen at him through those 4 defeats. That's just what you do as a football fan. I need to apologise to Connie from BT Sport or TNT or whatever it's called last week. I shouted horrible things at her last week because I was so annoyed with Celtic Football Club, and poor Connie, she got the brunt of it. But my goodness, that man needed a result today. And you can't imagine putting yourself into his shoes. And I know there's always the old, they get so much money and whatever comes their way, they deserve it because they're getting so well paid. But that man must have been a really, really low ebb on Wednesday night when we done enough in the first half to be 5-6-0 up. We genuinely did. And today, he must have felt, fucking hell, what have I got to do here? Because today was nothing about the formation. It was nothing about a new manager coming in with new ideas. It was just all about lackluster, poor players passing up on easy opportunities. 31 attempts on goal, 3 scored. XG of 5. We get 3 with 2 of them in the last 2 minutes. I'm just delighted for this guy that he's got 1 positive result in his Celtic career. And I know where you were going with this, that if he didn't get a result today, he was probably out. And I think he was genuinely out. I think with 3 minutes to go, he was gone. He probably wouldn't have seen midnight tonight. But I think me and you and probably other people think if that happened, what was going to happen was he'd be binned, Martin would be back in, he'd have to tell his wife he was away out for another loaf, he'd be back up the road, and Martin would sort it all out. And there's absolutely no guarantee that that plays out. Now, don't get me wrong, next weekend, Martin could be in again. But there's no guarantee that that plays out the way you think it's going to play out. And I'm just absolutely delighted for Wilfred Nancy. I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm not saying his ideals and his vision are going to work at Celtic. I think it's a ticking time bomb. I think the next time we get beat, he's under pressure straight away again. But at least he's got a positive result. And there wasn't that much wrong today, other than shite players played shite. And I don't know. I'm really at a crossroads where if he's going to be here in January, I think they have to back him, and I think they have to back him on the, as I say, the tick of the clock on midnight on the 31st to the 1st. I think they have to go in there and get a proper centre forward and 2 or 3 players that can play his style. I think they have to do that, or they ditch him and they go back to Martin and they get... Either way, we need 2 or 3 players of top quality at 1 minute past 12.
Well, I think you said it earlier as well. We also have a few players coming back for injury as well. I don't know.
When are they back, Liam? We don't know.
Well, yeah, but still, don't know if Martin will get a tune out of Johnny Kenny. I mean, Johnny Kenny's just strapped off completely. You said
the Furies couldn't get a tune out of Johnny Kenny.
Say something else about brother Wilfred. The fact it was most, I don't know how much he's getting paid, because you see most managers would be in Raganos or something like that. He was in McDonald's. Maybe he was looking for a striker in his Happy Meal. But that seems to... Did you see him the other night at McDonald's in the Braehead?
Aye, trying to get a 2-year deal on McDonald's.
He was a man of the people. Yeah, I mean, I was absolutely buzzing when I don't want to see Celtic get beat, and I don't want to see managers go through hard times and all that, because, you know, you want to give everybody a chance, and he has had a deck loaded against him, and he's came out and he said some really daft stuff, you know, the Carlisle thing and all that, and okay, that's forgiven. He didn't grow up with Celtic, so, you know, but he's going to get there eventually, I hope. And if he doesn't, we need to get rid of him fast and pull the plug. Just before we go, because I know I probably don't have much long left here, there was a couple of things. Jerry McCulloch, I just want to ask some of the Irish fans out there. Jerry McCulloch at half-time said, Irish people don't wrap their presents under the tree. I was sitting next to an Irish guy and I says, Owen, is that true? And he says, I've never heard of that before. Is that true?
I've no idea. I fucking
know you're
wrapped.
nodding.
I wrapped about seven. I wrapped about 7 presents yesterday, really, really badly for the wife. Honestly, as an absolute mess. I've never heard that before. I did hear him say it. But
I think that's just another tally mark on the Jerry McCulloch talks pish fucking sign. Do you know what I mean?
Again, on your Celtic TV, £13 subscription for today's match.
At half time, you're watching
you got to watch the ladies team wrapping Christmas presents.
Okay, you know what they do here? They put like a log fire on the telly here in Vancouver, and that seems to be a big thing. And they put it on in bars and shit. It's the weirdest thing. That's what Celtic should do. Just put that on at half time, because that's better than listening to Jerry's pish and watching a bunch of lassies wrapping presents.
But then this is another way where they're here comes Conor with his picture out for the board again. But this is when they're taking the piss again. You're paying £13 a month for that, for absolute shit commentary, shit content. There's no apps. There's no way for you to go back and rewatch old classic games, and there's no in-depth content and stuff like that. You see, and look, I'm not suggesting that we get a media team the same level as a Premier League team, but all the Premier League media and that behind the scenes stuff, it goes viral. Some of the stuff they do is amazing. That help local communities, all that stuff, and the content they do is properly high produced, and it gets a good laugh at you. It makes the players a bit more humorized and shit like that. And you're sitting there and you're listening to fucking Jerry McCulloch and all that, and the guys that just slab absolute fucking pish about how Celtic are playing and that, and talking about, do you like dunking your gingerbread into your milk on Christmas Eve? Just fucking shut up. Like, nobody cares what you like, all that stuff. When you're having to pay for it every month. I mean, look, I get my Celtic TV through perfectly legal means. You know what I mean? So definitely legal means, but but for people who are having to pay that every single month, on top of possibly having a season ticket, paying for Sky Sports, paying for BT, all the rest of it, it's generally just such a poor product that the Celtic, board are using to rinse fans yet again.
Robert Gibson, my wife has got 7 presents, but I'm not joking you. See, if you tally them all up, there's about 20 quid. She'll be very, very... honestly, she looked, she goes, oh, you've got me so much stuff. Honestly, 20 quid would cover the whole fucking thing. Oh, she's set up for a letdown. But listen, we were set up for a letdown. Even after KT scored, I still felt if there's one team can fuck this up from here, it's Celtic. We didn't do it. James Forrest, he nipped in early. He's not leaving it to the last day. He's scored for the 3 millionth season in a row. And it put a bit of a shine on the game, to be honest. I felt at that time, that's a wee bit more representative of what we've watched. I know it was tough. I know it was turgid. I know it felt underwhelming. But if you step back, I think if all three of us went and watched this game tomorrow, which none of us will do because we're all far too busy, but if you watched it back tomorrow, you would go 3-1 was the absolute minimum we should have won today's game by. I thought today was good. I know, Conor, you're of the very much paper over cracks. I'm not saying that's wrong because I probably agree with some of it, but I'm just a Celtic fan absolutely enjoying the fact that after a horrible fortnight, we have won a fucking game of football. And James Forrest done well when he came on, and he always does. And then, I'm thinking start Forrest the next game, and then, do you know what? If you start him, he'd probably be shite. But listen, the third goal came in, just made it fucking nice. Went back to the game earlier. It was a very strange scenario where I wasn't really watching Rangers and Hearts. It was on, but I was doing other stuff. And I was sitting and I could not work out what I wanted to happen in that game because my normal instinct is I want Rangers beat. But my trying to find a way for Celtic to win the league, despite all the turmoil, was thinking, I don't really want Hearts to win this game. And it was difficult to try and work out what I wanted to happen because then Hearts score And my wife goes, "Oh, you're happy now?" And I'm going, "Well, I need to process this because I'm not actually sure if I'm happy or not." And I think my gut feel was a draw was the best result for us because both teams would have dropped points. I just want to quickly get both your thoughts on it, and we'll try and read this up in the next 10 minutes because I know Phil will be on fucking trying to get it cleared out before the hour and a half. I just could not work out what I wanted to happen, and gut feel is I wanted a draw because then they were both to drop 2. Hearts won it, and on face value, they won it pretty comfortably. I still don't think that I'm not going to rule anything out in this season of all seasons where things go nuts, but I think that puts Rangers a wee bit on the back foot, and it makes Hearts. I would be surprised. I haven't checked the betting. I would say Celtic and Hearts would now be joint favourites to go on and win this league. I'd be keen to get both your thoughts, Conor. Not a big, massive rant, just a 1 minute sort of summary of where your head is after our game and the Rangers Hearts game.
I thought it was the same page as you. I was like, if all goes well for Celtic and we play how we should and get a win, the best result for us would have been a draw for them because both then drop points and we have a game in hand over Hearts, even though we did fuck up one of them. But I'm never going to not take a slight bit of joy at seeing Rangers lose. Like, obviously, if it was, like death by lethal injection or death by electrocution, you're still dying. But I would rather see Hearts win the league or Rangers, I'm being totally honest. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, neither here nor there, kind of both sides of the same cloth. But I'd rather see Hearts win it. But I do have a funny feeling that they might fall off. Obviously, I've not been that impressed from the whole season, but we've still got a good, 4 or 5 months to go. So there's still a lot of football to be played between now and then. So I guess we'll have to just see what happens.
Liam, where are you at?
Hearts, 100%. I wanted
You
Hearts.
want the Hearts to win?
I wanted Hearts to get the 3 points.
Talk me through it.
I don't want Rangers anywhere near us. The fact that they are right now is through the patterns of assistance that we've talked about earlier. And that's going to continue to happen. So, yeah, I just want to... I'd rather Hearts win it because I really believe that Hearts have not been in that position before, not for a long time. And I don't think they're going to be able to ride it out. We've seen a lot of people do really well up to Christmas, and we've seen better Rangers teams than Hearts, like with Gerrard and Van Bronckhorst and that slide away at that point in the season where they don't know what to do when they're in a title fight. And I think we've still got enough players that once we turn this around, add a few more players back for injuries, we still know how to get past the line, and that'll be through Conor. That'll be through Conor McGregor, Callum McGregor.
Only Car.
Not for a fight, but we don't need Conor McGregor. So yeah, I think it's a good move for us. That's good for us. I'd rather cheat them because I think we'll catch them and beat them.
Connor's just gone to the toilet. I'm going to my wee player bit, I've kind of abandoned it, but I'm going to give credit to Benjamin Negrin, much maligned. Oof. Scored the all-important first goal today. KT scored the winner. Absolutely brilliant. And Jamesy Forrest scored another record goal in terms of what he's doing. I'm confused about the whole Hearts Rangers game. I think there's going to be games going forward, lads, where we're going to be watching Rangers against Hearts, and we're going to be cheering Rangers on. And that's very, very difficult to comprehend. Now, I've done a wee thing on the show where Phil has very stupidly entrusted me to be in charge, where I've looked at the next 5 games. As of last midweek, I've now decided I ain't looking 5 games ahead. I'm only looking a few days. We've got 6-day break till next Saturday, and the fixtures for next weekend are Hibs away to Hearts, which is a tantalising game, which no matter which team's in the ascendancy, that's a toss of a coin game. If Hearts go there and win, that's a big, big result. You've then got Celtic at Livingston, which we always look at as a banana skin. If you look at the league table, if we don't win that game, we've no excuses. We've absolutely no excuses. And we've talked about managers outwitting Wilfred Nancy, if Davy Martindale outwits Wilfred Nancy next weekend, there's something badly wrong. For anybody who's really crying out for their football fix on Saturday the 27th, I think that's an excellent day. Imagine you're sitting down with your Sky on to watch Hibs Hearts, and the minute that's over, you've got Livingston and Celtic. That's a wonderful day's football. And you've also got Rangers home to Motherwell, two teams that are in the top four. Do not count Motherwell out in any of these conversations. Now, a few days later, we've got them as well. But that next Saturday is teed up there for a very, very, very big day. Conor, I'll get your thoughts on that because, you know, if we get the job done in that game and you just let things play out in those other two, we could be a decent position come next Saturday night.
Aye, we could. Obviously, depending on how Hibs play. Obviously, I watched the Hibs-Rangers game and Hibs were by miles a better team. Obviously, Rangers get away again with scraping another victory where it really wasn't deserved. But Hibs look decent. They're very, very good going forward. I do think they do struggle a bit up top, kind of similar with us. I know people would say they take that Bowie for Hibs, but I'll be taking Josh
Conor,
Morgan.
I've got an awful feeling. He's the one that we'll go for.
I'd take Mulligan at Hibs before I'd take Bowie, to be totally honest. I think Matt Mulligan in midfield for Hibs is a terrific wee player. I was having this conversation actually, kind of going a wee tangent, but if we just cherry picked a good few of the best players for the Scottish teams, like your St Mirren's, your Hearts, your Aberdeen's, your Hibs, and that.
You ain't getting anybody from Hearts. You're getting nobody from Hearts.
I know. But that's what you say that some of your Hearts might not go in January. Like Braga could get in. Yeah, I'm moving that. That probably does a world of good. But because obviously you see another striking. One season he was really struggling. They got guys like Paul Hartley and that, and brought them into the fold and really solidified.
That's different. That was different. Hearts weren't competing then, mate. Hearts were not competing when we. I know, but
I'm just saying it's kind of similar as well. You get the best of the best kind of from domestic teams, and it can maybe shore it up a bit. You've got a good core there. I think no matter what team it is, right, whether it's Celtic or Rangers or Motherwell, whatever, you have to have a good, strong Scottish core in there to kind of drive the way forward, to kind of know people who are coming in, whether it's managers or players, to show them what it's like and what is expected of you. And I don't know if we've got that strong a core there now, to be totally honest. But in terms of the games, if Hibs do a business, which I think they're within, the ability to do, and whether they'll do it and whether they'll actually go and probably Hibs it is like another story. Motherwell, I think, will school Rangers. Like Motherwell have been so impressive this season, and I think they'll probably school us as well when it comes to us playing them away. But obviously Livingston is such a shit place to play. It has been a haunted ground for us for years. I know.
There's no excuse, though, mate.
I know there's no excuse, but I'm just saying, like, there's so much goes against them. Like,
they're dreadful. Obviously,
I know that we've got the football doctor in Paul Tisdale, but Livingston have got the football terrorist in fucking David Martindale because of the tactics that he employs and the way that he plays the game and the pellets he puts in the pitch and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's honestly, it's not a great place to go, but we should hopefully get it out of the line. Livingston are terrible this season. They're so bad. Usually they do okay and they scrape results here and there, but they've been so poor this season that we should have enough to get it out of the line. Like, surely to God.
Okay, Liam, let's look one game ahead. Next weekend, not Rangers. Fucking hell, Rangers. I'm thinking Davy Martindale's team that he supports. Livingston, Rangers. Livingston next weekend. Who knows? I'll be on. You guys may well be on. Livingston, no matter how difficult that's been in the past, it was a problem for Brendan Rodgers. It was a problem for Ange at one time. It cannot be a problem. We have to go there next Saturday and get the job done. Looking at those fixtures that I put up on the screen, out of all of them, we've got the one that should be the easiest. I don't care about the pitch. I don't care about any of that. We should beat Livingston. Hearts and Hibs, toss of a coin for me. And Rangers should win at home to Motherwell, but Motherwell have been so good this season. What do you expect to happen in the next 6 days? Just from a Celtics perspective, we go there and win, and Nancy stumbles through for another week?
Aye, I think so. I think we'll go through and we'll win. I'm really optimistic about the Hibs Hearts game. I mean, just for the song away alone, Hibs away, I like it. I love that tune. So I think I think Hibs will do as a turn and beat Hearts. And I think going into the game, that's all we need. You know, Rangers, I don't know, Motherwell's in form right now. They could very well beat Rangers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week, and I think we could come out of this with actually gaining some ground. I mean, it's momentum. Okay, so the momentum's going now. Nancy sees what it's like to win at home. Okay, let's see what it's like to win away now, and then just build on from there. And then if we get a tune and we get the board does what they're supposed to do, Teasdale's, maybe he's went on holiday because he's really happy that he's got players packaged and ready to go and come in. I mean, you can only be optimistic at this point. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. But as well, I know, so hope it will kill you.
I think if he stays on holiday till around about February or March, that might be our best opportunity of having a good window. But go back to what I was saying earlier. If we do not have a centre forward lined up for 1 minute past midnight on the 31st, there's something badly wrong. I mean, look at this team. I don't know the exact stat, but I'm pretty sure after today's game, Benjamin Negrin is our top scorer, probably on about 7 goals. And that is just completely alien to all the successful Celtic teams of the past, where you've got a centre forward who's scoring 20, 30 goals. And somebody asked me earlier, would you take Kyogo back? And you look at his record where he was in and around that 20 goals. I mean, that should be the absolute minimum of a Celtic centre forward, 20 goals. I mean, that's in the 38-game season, 20 goals is only 1 every 2 games. I mean, I was saying to my dad today, I would take fucking Frank McAvenny right now in his current state, whatever age he is now. I would take him right now and throw him into that team, because pure instinct would be enough to fucking get the job done. And if we don't have a centre forward ready to go, doesn't matter if we're back in Nancy, doesn't matter if Martin's coming back, doesn't matter if it's somebody new. We need a centre forward who knows where the net is. And you just go and get one. And it doesn't matter who's in charge. You have a centre forward who knows how to fucking score goals. And right now, we don't have it. We just do not have it. And there's no excuse for us not to have it set up for 1 minute past the chimes. As soon as Auld Lang Syne gets signed, Michael Nicholson's up at the SFA office. He's camped out by a sleeping bag, maybe even 2 if it's a cold night. And he's there to get that registration over the line with that centre forward who's going to score the goals to get this season done by hook or by crook. Not by crook, by crook. By hook or by crook, no matter who the manager is, we need a centre forward. Michael Nicholson, if you're going to do one thing for Glasgow Celtic before we get you out, get us a centre forward who knows the net is. Lads, I'm going to let you go. It's been a long one. It's been a good one. Everybody that has followed the Boys on the Bus throughout the whole season, we're very new. Obviously, we're a breakout from the Boys on the Bus because Russell decided that he didn't want to go to a schedule, which was his choice, obviously, but totally understand. Russell's life is a rock and roll lifestyle, and he doesn't want to have a schedule. And we've ended up coming on to Phil's pod, and all of that stuff's good. We're all good. We're all mates. But our only problem is we are new. We're brand new. We don't have the subscribers. We don't have all the members and all that kind of stuff. Just give us a like, give us a share, help us get there, help us get to 2,000 early in 2026. And if you want to be guaranteed a post-match show, incoherent, drunk, pissed, sober, any of those things, everything's possible. Just get us into your life, give us a like, give us a share, get the bells going, all that kind of jazz. I'm going to wish every single person who watches this podcast a very, very happy Christmas. Liam and Conor, a very happy Christmas to you.
too.
Just
Merry Christmas,
what's your plans?
guys.
What's your plans? What does Christmas Day look like for you guys? For me, it's just wife, kids, mother-in-law, and partner round on a very quiet, low-key sort of Christmas. Just Christmas Day dinner, and we're probably sitting down for Netflix about 8 o'clock on Christmas Day. What's it look like for you guys? Conor, I'll go you first.
Christmas for me is usually a very subdued affair, which you expect by hearing me, rabbit on. But usually it's just me, my mum and dad, and the dog, and I'm just chilling and that, and then getting whatever old movies on the telly and that, and as soon as the Queen comes on the TV, putting the foot through the telly. But I'm
the Queen will not be on this year.
Oh, I saw it. She here anymore. But finally getting some extended family over for the first time in about a decade, so it'll be a bigger Christmas this year. So that'll be good. It'll be nice to actually, have a bit of a party atmosphere when it comes to Christmas. But I am working on Boxing Day, so I'll be in my bed early-ish. It'll be nice. Hopefully it's good, and I hope that you guys have as good a Christmas Day as I do.
Liam, what's it like for you over in Canada then?
First of all, most of the day spent on the phone, talking to all the family that's all far away, Bulgaria, Scotland, Toronto, all over the place. And then we usually sit down and we watch a couple of old Doctor Who Christmas specials, and then we usually round it up with the end of the night watching our Christmas movie. If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, we've included Big Lebowski as a Christmas movie, and usually sit down and watch that, and it still gets funny every time I watch it. But just anyway, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy Christmas to you and Conor. And Terry, one of my mates emailed me last time. He says, Irish guy on the podcast is absolutely brilliant. And
was that before or after last Sunday?
And, and keeping all the people at Luckin Distilleries and breweries, getting bonuses this year. So we all appreciate that.
Listen, Gary Boy says, what about the £500 draw? Listen, if everybody that watches us likes and subscribes, we might have a £500 draw this time next year, but we're far too small for that at this stage. Right, guys, next weekend, I don't know if I put the fixtures up. I think I did. I did. I put them up next weekend. So next Saturday is a big day. I'll be here. Hopefully either of you guys or one or none of you will be here. We will get that going after Christmas. We'll see what happens next in this roller coaster of a Celtic season. But I'm absolutely delighted to get 3 points today. I'm absolutely delighted that Wilfred Nancy's Celtic reign doesn't end without a victory. Are we papering over cracks? Probably. Is it just a case of time? Yeah, it might well be. But today we're happy. Today we got 3 points. Today we've kept ourselves in the title race. I thank you both for joining me. I thank every single person that's watched us across the year. We will be bigger and better in 2026. But we will see you next Saturday for the next installment of this enthralling SPL season. Thank you, everyone. Happy Christmas. Goodbye.